All right, the Detroit Lions are getting some help right when they need it. And no, we're not bringing a new player in, but it's a player who might finally be ready to return, and that is one, if not two players that might be ready to return on the defensive side of the ball, which we desperately need. But before we get into that, I want to ask you a question and explain what we do here. My name's Craig. Chris also does this channel with me. We love the Lions, and we just want to bring you good quality Lions content. We usually like to take a positive spin on things. There's no doubt about that, but it's really easy to do that when you have a team that went 12-5 last year, made it to the NFC Championship. We're 12-2 this year, and I just want to take a second to remind everybody, we're 12-2. We're still the number one seed. I talked about in my video that I made yesterday about our how there's still a path to the Super Bowl. Is it less likely than it was, a week ago and 10 weeks ago? Absolutely, it is less likely, but this is still a fun season with a fun team, and we're going to get some help here. But I also want to talk and ask you a question. Are you watching the college football playoff? I know there are a ton of NFL fans out there, and I know you're all Lions fans, which means most of you are going to be Michigan or Michigan State. Are you Michigan or are you Michigan State? But more importantly, what are your feelings on the college football playoff? Because personally, I love it because I'm just a football fan. I love the Lions. I love Michigan. You can see it based on my background. It's not a secret. But I also just love college football, the pageantry of it. And I thought that the playoff this year made it so awesome for so many teams to be able to get in that so many more games were meaningful. I understand we got off to a clunker of a start with Indiana versus Notre Dame. But still, just kind of questions for you. What is your thoughts on the new college football playoff? Are you watching it? Now let's talk about the help the Lions are getting. And I'm going to let Dan Campbell tell you about cornerback Emanuel Mosley. Let's hear about what we got going on here.
Good. This is the best week he's had since he's come back from the injury. I just think he looks so much more comfortable. He's moving around well, and it's been really 2 great days for him.
Okay, pretty simple, right? Like, it's been 2 great days for him. He's moving around. He's doing better. He's moving around well. Could he be the answer at outside corner opposite Terrion Arnold? That's the question that I have. And if he is the answer, and depending on how healthy he actually is, I would love to see him come back for this game against the Bears. If not, how cool would it be for him to see him come back against his former team in the San Francisco 49ers? I would love to, the more games he can play leading into the playoffs, the better he'll be during the playoffs. This is the guy that is coming off ACL injury and then another ACL injury last year. We all remember it. When he finally got back on the field, he tore the other one. And so now he has 2 replaced ACLs, not the same one, which is somehow good news. And then he gets the pec tear or whatever it was early on in the preseason this year. So he's a guy that's really struggled getting there. He's really struggled getting there. So what I want to talk about is, first I want to compare Mosley and Carlton Davis. I want to talk about who they have been in their career and how well they have performed, all right? And so first you look at Mosley, right? He's 28 years old, came into the NFL in 2019. Carlton Davis is 27, almost 28, came into the NFL in 2018. If you look at PFF, which isn't a perfect way of determining anything, but overall defensive grades for Carlton Davis, right? 61 his rookie year, 70, 67, 68, 64, 58 last year, and then 74.5 this year. He's a guy who loves playing man coverage and gets his best grades in man coverage. All right, Emanuel Mosley really only has 4 years because the last 2 years with the Lions, we can't grade him because he hasn't played. He played a total of 2 snaps. So his rookie year, he was a 70. Then he was a 58, 68, 71. So when you look at it, you look at him and Carlton Davis. Carlton Davis would have the best year, and then Mosley would have the next 2, just based on grading. I mean, simple grading, nothing crazy after that. All right. And most of these, of course, we're looking at coverage snaps. Mosley has had 1 interception each year. Carlton Davis has the ability to get more. He's had 1, 4, 1, 1, 2, 2, right? Like he has the ability to take the ball away a little bit more, even though he's really struggled and been banged up with injuries this year. You know, he had the thumb and, you know, he had the knee, which scared everybody. Now the jaw. He's had a lot going on. So the help that we need at the right time is Emanuel Mosley. I want to take you back to when we signed him. And the thought process behind him was that he could be a legitimate corner, right? And be a CB2, like a good CB2 or a pretty good CB1 when we originally got him. When we signed him, he came at a bargain, and everybody was super excited for this guy. Then he gets on the field, and he tears his ACL. And then we sign him back again, and everybody's still pretty excited about this guy. But like they're wondering, like, can he get back after the 2 ACLs? And then it's the pec. Well, good news is that has given him more than enough time to rehab and continue to make sure that both of his knees are really, really healthy going into the year. It's really good. That's a good thing. He has had extra time in order to do that. Here we are at week, 16 now? So he's had more than enough time. You know his knees are perfectly healthy. It's just a question of, is he back with that pec? And like Campbell said, he's moving around well. And that's what you usually see with ACLs. There's a moment where it changes. So I think we can have a defense that's in a similar situation, just flip reverse. Last year, we made it all the way to the NFC Championship, and we could not stop the pass. Couldn't do it. And we just decided we're going to become one-dimensional, and we're going to stop the run. We're going to sell out to stop the run. We're going to play man-to-man coverage and hope that the pass doesn't burn us too much. That's what we did. We can do the same thing this year, except the difference is we sell out to stop the run. Our man-to-man coverage in the back end with Branch, with Joseph, with Mosley, with Terry and Arnold, that group of 4 is better than what we ran out there last year. Like, you can't argue with that. Vildor, Dorsey, right? And then still Joseph, still Branch, right? But like Mosley and Terry and Arnold are better than anything we put on the outside last year. Not even close. Even if Mosley is 90% of what he was. Even if Mosley's 85% of what he was. Even if Mosley doesn't play and we're playing Vildor and Arnold. It's better than what we ran out there last year because Terry and Arnold is twice as good as anything that would have been opposite. I mean, Jerry Jacobs, what are we talking about? So they played hard. But it also will talk about, and this is something that I'm here to watch, and I'm wondering, there's been a recipe against the Bears lately of like run the football against them. And lately we're coming off our worst game. Here you can see some stats about rush yards by the Lions game by game. All right, if you go all the way back to the first week of the season, 163. But here's what I'm also looking at is yards per carry. All right, yards per carry. All right, in the first half of the season, our yards per carry were good. 5.3, 5.1, 4.3, 4.1, 5.1, 6, or 5.3, 6.8. And then all of a sudden, against Green Bay, against the Texans, it started dipping down. We struggled a little bit. Jacksonville, that's good. Anything over 4.5 is exactly where you want to be. Things went good. And then again against Green Bay. And against Buffalo, the yards per carry struggled. I would look to see us control the ball with the run and at the same time play that similar strategy that we played against teams in the playoffs, which is sell out to stop the run. Because when we didn't stop the run against the Bills, it was fine. You can allow Josh Allen to beat you with his arm. You can't allow that team to beat you with their collective legs. You don't want Josh Allen to beat you with his legs, and you definitely don't want James Cook and Ray Davis and whoever else, Ty Johnson, whoever else they're throwing out at running back. It's the same thing with the Bears. Make Caleb Williams beat you with his arm. With the 49ers, make Brock Purdy only beat you with his arm. Against the Vikings, make Sam Darnold only beat you with his arm. And if you take away everything else, there is a good chance that quarterbacks, no matter how good they are, will make a mistake and have a critical turnover at some point in the game. They will. All right, the only reason we lost to the 49ers, it's not the only reason, but the biggest part of the reason is because a ball that could have been an interception and turnover by Vildor doinked off his helmet and turned into, was it a touchdown or was it just close to a touchdown? I can't remember, but it ended up being a touchdown. All right, that is the reason, right? It is those types of plays, and I'm not saying I love the margin of error because of everything that's happening. I would rather the margin of error we had before, where we had what was turning into an elite defense and an elite offense. But now we just have an elite offense. So let's get the identity back. Let's get back to being mean on the offensive line. Let's get Graham Glasgow to get back to what he was last year, coming off of his worst game of the season. And let's see what we can do. All right, this is a game that we should be awesome in. A game in the trenches, in Chicago, in the weather. This is what this team is built to do, and we've shown that this team can win in the elements because of how good the run game is. Even with Jared Goff and his small hands and how we all say, can he actually be good in the elements? It's still a team that's built to win in the elements. It's still a team. It's still a team that locks you down in the run and runs the ball. It's still a team that's built to be in the elements. All right. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Can't wait to watch the game on Sunday, and we'll kind of go from there. And then, as I'll do in every video, Merry Christmas, and we hope to see you on the next one.